In the age of neon colors, grunge music, and economic prosperity, the 1990s was a decade that promised anything was possible. But for comic book enthusiasts, this era is remembered more as a time when dreams turned into nightmares, investments crumbled, and the industry faced a moment of reckoning, now known as the comic book crash of the 90s. This narrative will unravel a tale of greed, feverish speculation, and an ultimate collapse. Our story begins in the wake of a previous boom. The 1980s had seen a revolutionary shift in the comic industry. Blockbuster titles like The Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen had not only revitalized interest but had also established comics as a legitimate form of literature. Building on this surge, the early 90s seemed primed for success. Industry leaders like Marvel and DC were cashing in on a golden age, and much like the stock market, the value of collectibles began to skyrocket. In this climate, speculative investing quickly took hold. Investors were drawn not just by the colorful artwork and captivating stories, but also by the promise of potential financial gain. Rare first-edition comics were selling for thousands, luring scores of speculators who bought countless issues with hopes of future windfalls. This influx created a frenzy that mirrored the tulip mania of the 17th century. The market was flooded with endless variant covers, shiny holographic prints, and limited editions, each promising to be the next priceless artifact. Publishers riding this wave ramped up production. They expanded their licenses, spawning titles that catered to every conceivable taste. The atmosphere was electric, with so many heroes and villains leaping off the page, each promising adventure and intrigue. However, beneath the veneer of success lurked a dangerous over-reliance on untested strategies. The market was quickly becoming saturated, yet the bubble continued to inflate, guided by the unrelenting forces of greed and optimism. As the decade rolled on, reality began to bite. While comic book sellers had grown used to long lines and eager buyers, a change was on the horizon. Sales began to slow, and the enormous inventory of purportedly rare editions found its way to discount bins. Speculators, seeing the diminishing returns, moved on to more lucrative ventures, leaving behind stacks of devalued comics in their wake. Retailers, once flush with profits, faced financial ruin, and ultimately, the industry could no longer sustain itself. By the mid to late 90s, the crash had reached its nadir. Numerous comic shops closed, unable to cope with wasted fortunes. Marvel, an industry titan, faced bankruptcy, a shocking fall from grace that highlighted the severity of the collapse. The broken promises of wealth vanished into the ether, and the comics themselves, once tightly held as financial boons, were now merely remnants of a bygone era. The comic book crash of the 90s serves as a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition and speculative excess. It underscores the risks inherent in viewing art solely as commodity and highlights how delicate the balance between craft and commerce truly is. While the industry would eventually recover and evolve, the lessons learned from this tumultuous period still echo today as a reminder of the fragility and resilience of the medium.